All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I hope I can bring more visitors to your community, but not just bring visitors, also bring them with their money and leave their money in your community. I don't think we need to be apologetic about that. Trail tourists are like other tourists. They are happy to pay for the experience they seek. So we are going to make that happen. Next slide, please. So who are trail tourists? We're going to discuss three groups, the first of which are mountain bikers. So this is a very active cohort, and research into mountain bicycling has shown that mountain bicyclists take the greatest number of annual trips per year to ride trails. So again, very interested in trails. And this includes at least 1 week a year of traveling to a trail destination. So the typical enthusiast mountain biker is going to plan 1 week of vacation a year around mountain biking. Fortunately, Oregon is already known internationally as a mountain bike destination, thanks to its natural beauty, outdoor recreation focus already, and certainly promotion by Travel Oregon and the RDMO. So very well situated to maximize the benefits from this trail group. Next slide, please. Hiking is the most popular outdoor activity across all locations, populations, et cetera, et cetera. It has the greatest number of participants, in part because the barrier to entry is very low. Even with something like fly fishing, you may have to buy a lot of equipment, but with hiking, a good pair of shoes and you can become a hiker. So hiking includes everything from a 60-minute walk in the woods to a multi-day point-to-point hike. And many travelers see hiking as a way to intimately experience Oregon's natural beauty while simultaneously getting some exercise. So, in Oregon, it's very popular and is very appealing to visitors. Next slide. So trail runners are the fastest growing segment of trail users, and they have the strongest crossover with hiking and mountain biking. So research on trail runners indicates that if you are a trail runner, you are also very likely to be a hiker and a mountain biker. What this means to us is that if you are effectively marketing to mountain bikers and hikers, you are also marketing to trail runners. So that's kind of a gimme, a freebie on that. So it's nice to be able to maximize that exposure for your trails. Next slide, thank you. So we are talking today about hikers, mountain bikers, and trail runners. We don't have enough time to get into motorized users, equestrians. I apologize, but we do actually, fortunately, have someone who knows a little bit, somewhat about equestrian visitors, or road cyclists. So these are related but distinct markets. We are, of course, happy to answer any questions about these groups. And certainly, EOVA does have resources about how to attract these visitors separately outside of this presentation. So for each trail user group, there are two subgroups, enthusiasts and families. Enthusiasts make their hike or their run or their ride the focus of their visit. They are looking for all day, multiple day excursions. They will leave right after breakfast and return right before dinner. And this is a very desirable demographic, as additional research, particularly done by Travel Oregon, has shown that these enthusiasts have disposable income and they are willing to spend it on traveling to trail destinations if it provides the experience they are looking for. So families, on the other hand, want 1 to 2 hour trail excursions. That also leaves them time for other activities such as historic tours, sightseeing, swimming, paddling, rafting, shopping, rock hounding, etc. So having these trails appeals to families as it allows them to fill their day with outdoor playtime. So they can do a variety of things. Maybe they want to go hiking earlier in the day, and then in the heat of the day, go to the historic museum. So it's a nice addition to help basically parents keep their kids active and engaged all day long, right? Because that's what they're trying to do. They're looking for things to do. So it's a really nice way to round that out. But those groups want, enthusiasts and families want different things, but frequently one trail system or one network can provide them with all of that opportunity. So there are 4 main components to a trail destination, and therefore 4 components to maximizing the revenue that can be gained from them. They are trails. So first and foremost, trails. You can't be a trail destination if you don't have trails. So Luckily, in Eastern Oregon, there are a wide range of trails from family-friendly county parks with 2 to 3 miles to cross-state routes that appeal to the most seasoned hikers. So a wide variety of opportunities there. We did hear some comments in our breakout room that participants in this call may not know of their local trails, but certainly that's something that EOVA or allies within the industry can help with. So that is definitely, in many cases, this isn't the problem. Fortunately, there are trails nearby, and now what we want to do is maximize the value of those. So the second component are services, and this includes all the things that people would do, use, or ideally purchase on their visit. So lodging, food and drinks, rental shops, visitor centers, galleries, museums, distilleries, other recreation options such as golfing and fishing. So a wide range, and we will be spending a bit more time in detail on this one. So transport relates to moving people around a region to maximize their trail experience. In most locations in North America, this focuses on shuttle services, but it does also include summertime ski lift access, which is available in some mountain communities, including some of those in Eastern Oregon. Lastly, there are events. These include a wide range of activities, races, rallies, group rides, fun runs, mass starts, any way to get people involved in hiking, biking, or trail running. That's the focus of these, and to really kind of create that buzz or that culture around outdoor activity and enhance the reputation of a location. So on this presentation today, we're going to focus on services, transport, and events. So this is likely where businesses can make the most money. So for services, lodging is the primary service which we'll be discussing because it is a TLT generator for many communities. So trail visitors seek lodging either in town to be close to food and other attractions, particularly families, or they seek lodging near a main trailhead so they can quickly access the trails. Trail visitors will be looking for a range of accommodations. So in this regard, they are similar to a lot of other visitors, from rustic to pampered, from economy to deluxe. This may vary for the same person depending on the type of trip. An enthusiast, for example, visiting for an event may want to stay in a group yurt, but that same person visiting with their family may want a swimming pool for the kids and separate restrooms and bedrooms, that type of thing for the family. So again, a wide range. You really can't go wrong, but it is important to have some diverse options. You're just more likely to increase the number of people who visit. Many enthusiasts have campers or vans. I'm sure you see these tooling around your community, and this is a potential market. You don't need to provide full RV hookups. This can be fairly low cost, but if there is a separate parking area and shared restrooms and showers, this can be a very low cost alternative to a way to bring people into your lodging. And maybe sometimes we certainly see the whole family will come. Maybe the kids stay in the van and the parents stay in the hotel room. So it's a good way to just again add that diversity of lodging options. So in terms of lodging, a lot of people travel with expensive gear and they don't want to leave it in their car all day or all night. So for many, many years, luckily I'm past this, for many, many years, my bike was worth more than my car. So, I was very keen to keep it, out of the public eye, unguarded. So, you can provide a storage space for bikes, for packs, for tents, large item for coolers, that type of thing. It's a very nice amenity that outdoor recreation visitors are going to appreciate. It doesn't have to be as fancy as what's shown in this photo, for example. It could be as simple as an 8x8 prefabricated shed with a combination padlock, or just allowing people to take their bikes into their hotel rooms. It can be as simple as that as well. Trail use, for those of you who partake, know it can be a sweaty affair and alternately dusty or muddy, depending on the season. So if you provide rustic lodging, having warm showers is a great draw. And certainly a wash and dryer will also get lots of use. And people expect to pay for that service. And so you really can do these kind of added value services that will generate additional income for your lodging. I like this photo a lot. This is a photo of Linda from the Oak Ridge Lodge and Guest House, which caters to outdoor tourists. She and her husband created this small bike repair area with less than about $500 worth of tools and equipment. And just outside is a hose with a nozzle for washing bikes and boots, that type of thing. Guests mention this specifically in their reviews online, and it is a very small investment in an amenity that lasts many years and really advertises itself. And that's the kind of thing that will distinguish, for example, your lodging from the standard hotel, for example, that may not have this. So again, a good way to very much appeal to this specific market. Everyone, of course, needs fuel for the day, and outdoor enthusiasts perhaps more so than others. Fortunately, we have some peer presenters who will share their advice with you on this topic, so I'm not going to go into details now. But straddling the border between goods, between food and drinks and services is food to go. So if your local restaurants do not already have portable trail-friendly food, they can consider expanding into this market. So again, we're looking for something that can be shoved in a pack, taken out into the rain or the hot sun, and provide some energy for either a short or long duration. Good to hear. Elena can also talk about this. The bike shop and outdoor stores, they're there for forgotten items and quick fixes. Now, it's unlikely that someone is going to come from Portland to your community and want to buy a brand new bike that weekend. But so that's not really the focus. These are more, again, small items that may have been forgotten, water bottles, bike tubes, that type of thing, as well as, again, those quick fixes that always crop up when parents put their kids' bikes onto the back and they haven't ridden them in since last year, and then they get to the trail and they're like, oh, we've got a flat or something like that. So it's also a good place to sell trail appropriate souvenirs, socks, sun hats, that type of thing. And if your community does not have an outdoor store or bike shop, don't worry. A lot of times auto parts and hardware stores can have those frequent quick fixes. So just be ready to direct your visitors to those local businesses. And a lot of times you can help them solve their problem and get them onto the trail. This is a really important one, just based on some of the comments we heard, I think. So paper and electronic maps are some of the most frequently requested items from visitor centers and front desks. We hear this continually when we speak with local communities. So you can partner with your local trail advocacy group to identify your trails and get descriptions for them. You're going to want to know, is this a very long or family-friendly trail? Is there a lot of vertical on this trail? Or is this a very nice stroll along the creek? And that type of information is going to help folks get into the trail that they're interested in. There are also a lot of free, commonly used trail apps that are out there. And EOVA, for example, has experience with helping communities get that information into those trail maps and doing write-ups about them. And so you could simply say, hey, well, if you have this app, then simply browse to our locations. You can see all the trails. They're rated by difficulty level. So this is a really, it doesn't take a lot of investment, but it has a lot of payback for helping visitors find that experience they want, and therefore wanting to come back and stay longer. Shuttles are sometimes paired with guiding services and are another great service. So water recreation committees do a really good job of this. I'd like to think of Maupin. Many of you may be familiar with Maupin. A large number of the visitors there use businesses that provide equipment, provide a guide, provide a shuttle. It's very inclusive. People really appreciate that. So trail use is similar. And shuttles can be a great business development opportunity. We know of several instances in Oregon where lodging providers have gotten into this kind of shuttle space where they say, yeah, we have a van that we use to go do runs to the local airport sometimes, or we have a pickup truck that we can put bikes on and take people up to the top of the hill, or to the mountain pass. So there are a lot of opportunities here, and it just depends on your local trails and what people are coming from. There are many point-to-point trails in Oregon. We'll talk about one of them a little bit later, but there's several in Eastern Oregon, or that touch Eastern Oregon. And there's the type of thing where someone might be looking to be dropped off 150 miles from their destination, and they can hike then for several days and come back to their car at the end and not have to go back down several hours to get the previous vehicle. So again, real good opportunity, and one that you can develop in conversation with your local trail advocates. And I do think one of our peer presenters is going to speak to this topic a little bit more, which will be a nice, good, specific example. The final one is events. We're talking again about races, non-competitive events, rallies, fun runs. It's really just a good way to expose people to your trails. People like it because it's a bit of a package deal. So you have already vetted the trails. You can tell them how long they're going to be out. You can put different groups. You know, you could have the 6-mile version, the 10-mile version, and the 20-mile version. And so there's a lot of ways to make it a very easy entry point for people. These events can provide a significant economic boost, typically in one weekend. Many events get 100 to 200 participants plus their family members, and that's typically a 2-to-1 family member to participant. So you could have several hundred people in town for a weekend event, which is great. And I recommend partnering with a trail-based event promoter. They know the trails, they know their users. You know all the services and the lodging and how to best get them to and from the trailhead, that type of thing. So it's a very good partnership for local communities. And the event promoters will help you reach the right channels, and this results in this very positive reputation. And I'm going to talk about some examples coming up where people have built a new trail system and they wanted to expose riders or hikers or trail runners to it, and they used events to do it, and it's been very successful. So perhaps the best known trail event in Oregon is Mountain Bike Oregon in Oak Ridge, going on its 2nd decade now. This is, I'm not exaggerating when I say it has international appeal. Typically in a given year, you will have people from all across the United States and then maybe a half dozen countries. And I'm not talking about just Canada, but from Japan, for example. People come from Norway to go ride this. This event itself has really cemented the state's reputation as a trail destination, and still draws hundreds of participants a year. So it's a really good example. Oak Ridge was a community that really suffered heavily when timber declined in the 80s, and has worked very hard at rebranding itself as a destination for outdoor recreation. And this event made a big difference in that. They are completely surrounded by federal land. They have very little tax base, and so they really have to look to those surrounding public lands to support them and develop a relationship with the Forest Service to permit these events, to get the trails cut out before they come. So it really has served the community very well. There is now, several lodging opportunities for outdoor enthusiasts. There's this event. There are 3 shuttle services in the tiny town of Oak Ridge. So there really is a lot of economic opportunity happening around this very successful long-term event. Another example is the Whiskey Run Trail system. This is a 20-mile trail system that was just finished being developed earlier this year, or actually the next phase is coming in later this year, but they have a critical mass of trails. And so they're trying to draw folks to Coos County. This is timberland. And again, in this location, the timber is very cyclical. Revenues from timber are very cyclical. So they're looking to diversify the revenue from that landscape. And so they have this really nice trail system not far from Coquille and Coos Bay. Nice views of the oceans. That's always a draw. So they put on this kind of family-friendly event. It has vendors, food and drink, bike demos, as you can see in the photos, lots of kids, prize, lots of fun activities, that type of thing. So again, it's just a way, and they use tourism money to help promote this. And it's a way to get people to come to the system and say, we've got it all figured out for you. And then that people are comfortable coming back the next time on their own, bringing their friends, talking about it on social media, that type of thing. And lastly, closer to home, the Oregon Timber Trail is one of those state line routes I talked about. This starts just south of Lakeview on the California border and goes all the way to Hood River, crossing back and forth across the Cascades a couple times. So The Trail Stewardship Group, who's responsible for this trail, is hosting a grand depart in Lakeview later this summer. So they're inviting everyone to begin at the same time because riding the whole trail is a bit of a solitary event. So they want to create some community around it. And Lakeview has been a great host. There's a bike shop there, an outdoor shop now that is pretty involved with it. One of the board members of that organization is the bike shop owner. So, this is becoming an annual event, COVID asterisks from last year, but, riders and their families in town several days beforehand, spending money, staying at lodging, bringing Lakeview onto their radar as a trail destination. So very positive, great partnerships with local businesses and the trail group, and really excited about where that is heading as a good example.